do that. All right, well, as Americans, we're guaranteed to worship, of course, in any way we please in this country. But does that mean that people believe in God? A new Harris poll says that although a majority of Americans believe in God, 42% say they're not absolutely certain that God exists. But what about people who do not believe in God or in practicing religion at all? Is there a place for atheists in America? Ellen Johnson is the president of American Atheists, and she certainly believes that there is a place for it in America. Tell me a little bit about, you say that there's a growing movement of atheists, and yet, everything that you sort of see out there would indicate otherwise, Ellen.
Well, no, this Harris survey echoes everything the other surveys prior to that have been saying and showing us, and that is that the American people are becoming more secular, that almost 50% of the American people are feeling alienated by organized religions, that the number of Americans who are non-believers is increasing. It has doubled over the last 10 years, and these results are echoed year after year. Barna does their survey every year. The ARIS survey is every 10 years, and I think that this is something in this election year that the politicians should take notice of.
Why do you think it is? I'm looking at some quotes by Barack Obama, and also Harold Ford has been very outspoken. Harold Ford said, "I can't help it. I love Jesus." As he's been out on the campaign trail, he's talked a lot about his faith. Barack Obama always talks a lot about his faith, and he's saying, that we need to reach out to people and not hide our faith. So why would politicians, beside the fact, putting cynicism aside here for a moment, why would they be doing this if it wasn't in their hearts and they didn't feel that that's where people were right now and that was how to reach them?
Well, because that's what they know. That's all they know. In fact, they're out there wooing the snowmobile owners voting bloc. They're out there wooing all different kinds of groups, but not us, and they should. And so there is a political action committee called the Godless Americans Political Action Committee that is encouraging non-believers to vote their atheism first.
How do you do that? Who do you vote for? Who's representing you? Who do you think speaks to you as the president of the atheist group?
Well, I can't say that because I am president of a nonprofit organization. I cannot go there and talk and endorse any politicians.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Is there a candidate? Are there people that you feel, speak to you? Because and I don't understand also why, what you want to do with that political power. What do you want to achieve?
Yes, we want the politicians to start listening to us. What the politicians do is they pander to the religious, and therefore they do all kinds of things in the area of public policy, like enacting legislation like the faith-based initiatives and things like that, in the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act and the Public Expression of Religion Act. All those kinds of pieces of legislation that give special rights and privileges and tax exemptions to the religious in violation of our Constitution.
All right, Ellen, hold on. I know these guys want to get into this conversation, so I'm going to open it up to them. So you stay right where you are if you would. So what about religion and politics? It is, of course, campaign season. You see a lot of politicians out there wearing religion on their sleeve. And, let's talk about it a little bit. I saw you shaking your head, Sammy, as she was talking. What's on your mind?
Well, I don't think you can poll 2,000 people and say that the percentage of people that don't believe in God is coming up. I just don't believe that. It's like me walking out on the street and asking 10 people a question and then go by that and say, hey, you know what, all of America, this is where we're headed.
What's the sense that you get as you travel around the country playing? How has it changed over the past few years? Because I feel like a lot's changed since September 11th.
It has changed, but you know what? I think it's people that are changing it, not God. God's given us a chance to straighten everything up that's going on. We all have choices.
There was this claim, I'm sorry, Sam, but there was this claim after 9/11 that there was a spiritual revival in America, but the Barnas study is specific. It says there is no such revival. In fact, the Christians in America are losing 10% of their adherents every year, and if that trend continues by the year 2042, for the first time in our history, non-Christians will outnumber Christians.
I don't see it. I go all over the country playing music,
South.
and I'm a country entertainer, and that's the basis of country music. God is the biggest thing in our life. God is in my head, my heart, and my soul.
And it's interesting to me, Sammy, following up on your point, regardless of what the statistics may be, the more important point to me is that faith has been, and spirituality has been, the foundation of my life and my family's life. And I'm very sorry for those people who don't have that sense of faith and religion. So I think it's really very, very sad. I think what concerns me is the way I've seen, people want to debate the issue of religion and faith. That's their right under this country. But God is not a Democrat or Republican.
No.
Yeah.
And I am really very much offended when I see religion used to exploit the fears and prejudices of people. And that concerns me profoundly.
Ellen, how do you feel, Ellen, when you hear people say that, that they feel sorry for you or for your cause? How do you feel about that?
I think that's what's turning off a lot of people from religion. It's comments like that. We're not somebody you should feel sorry for. We're a very decent part of the American population, and the numbers are increasing. Barna Research puts the non-religious Americans at like 58 million Americans.
But there was one really interesting thing in one of the polls that I read that was done, I think, by Baylor University. They said they asked everybody, whether or not they were religious, and then farther down in the survey, they asked people where they worshipped, and 1 in 10 of those people put down an answer for where they worship. And I also think, whether you say absolutely certain, are you absolutely certain that there's a God? I think there are so many people who have faith in this country who've had moments in their life when they wonder. Of course, it's the greatest question of most people's lives. So that's why I think that some of these surveys may be a little bit of a not a great reflection.
The Catholic Church has lost 9.5 million adherents. There are more non-religious Americans than there are Lutherans.
I don't know. I have a hard time getting a seat in my Catholic church on Sunday.
Next time y'all take a poll, call me.
Okay.
I'd like to be counted.
Martha, a lot of the people in the poll said identified themselves either as Christian or Jewish or Muslim,
right,
and then still wouldn't say absolutely certain. It's all about semantics, don't you think? That on any given day. But I got to. Can I add myself to the poll?
Please do.
I'm in that 1% that believes there is a God and she is a woman.
Have you always believed this?
Yes,
your whole life since you were a little girl?
I was a little girl. Yes.
And,
There's nothing wrong with
she's
that.
wonderful.
The largest growing
If it's a
religion.
woman or a man, I don't care. I know there's a God.
Right.
I know for a fact
And
there's
Ellen,
a God.
I'd like to make one point to Ellen, though, in terms of her comments. I'm not challenging or questioning her sense of decency or sense of morality. I'm just suggesting that I don't believe those of us who believe in faith and believe in religion also should be challenged for that reason as well.
Let's get the college students' thoughts on this, Sarah.
Yes, I've been waiting. You know what? This is what it boils down to me. We all have our own personal beliefs, and I do think that the majority of the United States of America believes in God. I think that the majority of the world believes in God, whether we want to call him God, Allah, or whatever. We all believe that there is a higher being. But this country was founded on the separation of church and state. And you know what? If we can go out there and we can say, I believe in this, and you can promote and campaign, these are my religious beliefs, but you shouldn't be voting strictly on that.
All right. Interesting discussion. Thank you. And thank you, Ellen. We appreciate your being here today. Thank you very much, Ellen Johnson.